If anyone else wants to join whilst we're presenting, that's fine. So welcome to everybody. This is a webinar to talk about Redsift's new product, BIMI. My name is Natalie. I'm the marketing manager at Koncise Solutions. Those of you that don't know Koncise, we are a reseller of market-leading cybersecurity solutions. We work with clients ranging from a vast spectrum of industry sectors, from legal to financial to sporting. One of our market-leading vendors that we work with is Redsift. And Neil from Redsift, Neil is the channel director, is going to be presenting today the new product that they have brought to market called BIMI. So without further ado, Neil, I shall pass it on to you.
Lovely, thanks, Natalie, appreciate that. So hopefully everyone can see my screen and hear my voice. That would be a disaster if you couldn't. So yeah, this is really going to focus around something called BIMI, which is about brand identifiers within email messaging. I'll explain a little bit more about this as we go on. Just as a brief kind of summary of Redsift and who we are. Redsift have been around about 5-6 years. We focus and specialize around digital brand protection and social engineering security. Primarily, our go-to-market has been focused around something called DMARC. It's a protocol, which again I'll touch on through the presentation, which stops your online domain being impersonated or directly spoofed by cyber criminals, which in itself leads to protection around business email compromise and supply chain compromise attacks. On top of this, we've added additional products to the portfolio, including inbox security and domain level protection, which is shown here in this slide. Overall, it's 3 separate products, as I mentioned, around DMARC. It's about that dynamic management of your DMARC protocol to stop you from being impersonated. Domain protection, where we go out and find impersonation or lookalike domains on the internet and advise of any kind of security status of those, and you can then look to bring those under your own protection or offer takedown services to remove them from use. And then on top of that, we've got an inbox solution, which effectively offers a bit of a banner header within emails to help protect people and employees from more complicated and more subtle cybersecurity attacks. But today, we're not really focused on the broadness of all of this. We're looking at something a little bit different. We're looking at BIMI. And so what is BIMI? Well, it's another acronym which everybody needs in their life. And it stands for Brand Indicators for Message Identification. And it's really nothing more complex than putting a trademark logo next to every email you send. And just in case the words that I've just said aren't explicit enough in explaining what it is, here is on the left, no BIMI, and here on the right is with BIMI. And just in case that wasn't clear enough, a second slide, which is identical to the first slide, showing again without BIMI and with BIMI. Now, the question is, why would you care? Why does it matter? Well, first of all, putting a trademark logo in a customer's inbox clearly has its benefits. It's great for brand awareness. Do you also want to increase email open rates? Because that's what this does. And do you want to actually improve email deliverability? Because the whole process around sorting out BIMI and putting logos in emails requires DMARC configuration, which in effect also improves email deliverability by telling the internet that the emails that you're sending that are coming from legitimate sending sources are not spam, they are not spoof, they are legitimate and from you. So that's why you should care, because this is about really pushing and promoting your brand into the inboxes of the customer. It helps achieve marketing goals. We've got some great stats. Everybody loves a statistic, I'm sure. But what does it do? Well, 3 main indicators of what it does here. We increase the brand recall as people remembering your brand, and on average 44% of people remembered your brand just by seeing it visible within the body of within the messenger header of those emails. There's a 39% increase in open rates, and we can talk about what the cost impact of that could be to any given customer. You know your ROI of marketing, one would imagine, and if you could increase your open rates by an average 39%, what sort of ROI does that deliver to you? It's probably quite a significant uplift on general marketing campaigns, and it influences buyer behavior because of the trust that's associated with seeing an actual trademark logo within an email, that open uplift carried over to purchasing decisions. So there's a buying increase of up to 32% as well. So subsequently, we're really impacting those email marketing campaigns. Now, you don't have to just take our word for it. Unfortunately, these two will have to be left to your imagination in terms of a well-known pizza brand, but they calculated that just a 1% increase in email marketing could lead to $1 million of additional revenue. Now, I'm not saying that you own a pizza company or that your uplift is replicable or the same as theirs, but nonetheless, you can know if you adjust your email uplift and the purchasing decisions that are happening, what that could potentially impact. On top of that, one of our other customers is a leading travel industry company, and their marketing department actually requested BIMI as a top priority project for Q4 2020. So they've been running that now and have again reported similar results in terms of their email delivery and the subsequent uplift in when campaigns are actually being launched. You could be like other leading brands. You don't have to, again, take my word for who they are. You can go on to BIMIradar.com, a website, and through there you can see the adoption rates and who's actually looking to use BIMI brands. So it's a growing industry standard, which was created by Verizon, Google, and Fastmail to improve the trust and reliability of brands. Gmail, of course, remains the most popular email platform. So 1.8 billion users currently and growing, and that's about 43% of the email service market share. And so there's a massive demographic of people using Gmail who will get visibility of your logo, which will in turn enhance and build the brand and build the trust within that moving forward. So benefits aren't just limited to marketing departments and marketing activity. There is a clear benefit to implementing BIMI for IT leaders, predominantly focused around the DMARC protocol, which I will touch on. But because you're blocking phishing and impersonation through configuring of the DMARC protocol, you're able to then prevent business email compromise attacks, particularly with your logo being embodied in an email. You're then able to stop things like supply chain attacks when people are impersonating the domain and sending emails which won't have the logo in them to people within your supply chain network. So you benefit as an IT leader within this from enhanced email security and better digital brand protection and posture. It's all about better security hygiene. And when I talk about things like DMARC, we'll explain a little bit more in a couple of slides. But why would you do it with Koncise and in conjunction with ourselves at Redsift? Well, we are a full circle BIMI certification solution. So to get BIMI certified, not only do you need your DMARC compliance, which is clearly where we as a market leader offer our core skill, but you also need what's called a VMC certificate. And those are typically supplied by Entrust or DigiCert, but you can actually get those from us anyway. So what we will do by going down the BIMI route with us, it's kind of all bundled in together. So you'll get one of our customer success engineers or techies, whatever you want to call them, will guide both the IT and marketing teams through the process to ensure you qualify. Our DMARC product, OnDMARC, provides that email security protection. So that covers you off on that. And we'll take you to a policy of reject, which is great because it means all of a sudden you cannot be impersonated regardless of whether you include your logo in a BIMI email. And we're experts in this. We've done it so many times. We've rolled out multiple instances of DMARC rejection and BIMI licenses. We've been doing it since the very first one went live. So you know you're in safe hands with us. And we will do it in a very hands-on way. We'll work with yourselves to make sure the journey you go on is at the pace that works for you, whether it's super fast and you want to get to that policy quickly and you want to get your logo up and running as soon as possible, or you just want to take your time to make sure your email configuration is done correctly. You're in very safe hands with us in doing that. Now, I touched on DMARC and what is it? We better obviously cover off exactly what that is. So it's an email security protocol and the foundational bit for BIMI. DMARC is a policy that's read by the internet, and it basically identifies whether email sending services that you use are legitimate and from your domain. And by applying a DMARC policy to your specific domain, you tell the internet that anyone else trying to impersonate your domain is false and emails won't get through. And this is foundational for the whole implementation of BIMI licenses. Once you've been through that DMARC journey, you're in that policy of reject. We then uplift your logo and your licenses into the product, and all of a sudden you're good to go. So the journey kind of looks like this. A little bit of a busy slide, and I've tried to keep slide busyness to an absolute minimum, and indeed this presentation to also a relative minimum, because I think most of us are webinared out, particularly ahead of Christmas. But step one, are you DMARC compliant? Again, we begin that journey with you on that DMARC compliance. And then, do you have a trademark logo? You can apply for trademarks with the correct logo. It can take a little while to get that through, so we make sure that that process is started as well. And again, we work hand in hand with you to make sure this is really, really comfortable, really easy for you to understand. So through that verification process, we then just go through a bunch of notifications and verifications, which are all required to be able to eventually set up your BIMI logo. But these steps, while they look like they might be relatively complicated, are simply straightforward, and we make that journey as easy as possible. And it isn't very costly either. People might well want to know, what is the cost involved of getting my BIMI logo up and running. The DMARC part is the bit that has a bit of a cost attached, but then uplifting onto actual VMC certificate doesn't cost an awful lot more. So it's a very, very cost-effective way of getting that brand awareness out there, and we can work with you on all that. So it was a relatively short, sharp presentation. I apologize if anyone was expecting half an hour of PowerPoint slides and long, drawn-out conversations about technology, but that's all this is. BIMI is a straightforward thing. It's putting a logo in the header of an email. It's improving brand awareness, it's improving email deliverability, and it's improving the ROI on email marketing campaigns. You can do it all through ourselves, work with Koncise on getting the process up and running, and it should be as straightforward as this presentation was. So I think that's back over to you, Natalie. I think you can
listen, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Neil. That was really, really concise and
concise. That's
marketing for a reason. So yeah, thank you for that. Really straightforward. I think what we'll do, we've recorded the webinar today, the presentation. We'll follow up with everybody after this, and I'll send the recording out to those of you that made it and those of you that couldn't. And if there's any questions you have regarding BIMI and Redsift and the solution that they're offering, then we can set up a one-to-one. But in the meantime, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you very much, Neil. And I'm sure we'll be in touch. And have a good Christmas if I don't speak to you before then.